the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded February 28th, 2011. Episode 32, The Commercial Competitor Commencement.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey, Chris. Guess
Dave,
which episode this is?
Oh, it is. I didn't even notice. I did not even notice. It's 32.
The big 3-2. 2 to the power of 5.
That's right.
It has massive binary significance. We're up to our 6th digit.
That's great. Oh, yeah. Flip another one over on the counter. Start expanding your logic utilization.
Right.
We're at 32 now. Although we didn't start at 0, so are we really? That's the real question.
Well, true. Yeah, good point. We started at 1. That's very unengineering-like, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just bad practice.
Yeah. Yep.
Should we go back and rename all the episodes that start from 0?
Sounds good. Or maybe we can do like an anniversary 0th edition. Or so, I don't know.
Or we can have some kind of ridiculous voiceovers on all the old ones.
Right, got it. That's a much better way. Yeah, let's just re-upload.
Yeah, just redo all that work.
We have the power to edit and re-upload. It's great.
Yeah, and the time, of course, too. Why wouldn't we?
Oh, of course. We got oodles of free time. Yeah, we do this for a living, don't we? It's just we have nothing better to do than...
It's our everything, yeah. I definitely haven't been building a workball, and you definitely haven't been...
not at all.
Abusing DMMs and canyons, so...
Right.
We're tons of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I came out of a canyon yesterday. I took the X-Tech meter through, and it survived. Not surprisingly, really, because... I don't know. It's just more fun than anything else. Yeah. So, it survives the water. So.
See,
anyway.
Now, what if you also combine canyoning with DMMs with like rocket launching, right? So you're at the top of a canyon,
right.
You launch it vertically into the air, and then it gets just that much more vertical drop when it's coming down into the canyon. And then the challenge for you is to just get out of the way so you don't get hit on the head with a DMM.
Aha, got it.
There we go. So
awesome.
There's a new sport.
Well, dare I say it might actually survive. A meter might actually survive that because it'd hit like trees and foliage on the way down, which would sort of break its fall, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And, that'd be interesting.
It would be. Start working on those model rockets, Dave.
Right.
You can,
okay. I've got a friend who's into model rockets. He's into water rockets, actually.
Cool.
Yeah, those water-powered ones, and they can get phenomenal height on those, just powered from high-pressure water. It's amazing.
You know who else is into those? Is Forrest Mims.
Oh, right, okay.
I think he did a couple books on that, too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, he's into all sorts of things these days, isn't he? Measuring, like, atmospheric stuff or something like that. I subscribe to his tweets, and he's measuring the dust in the atmosphere or something. He's got some instruments that does that. I don't know.
Yeah, atmospheric science never really got me going.
No, my sister-in-law is an atmospheric scientist. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's necessary and it's cool, but it's just not my cup of tea, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
But he's also judging our 555 contest entry soon.
He is. How's that going? How many entries you got?
It's going good. We were over 120. I'll check right now, but we were over 120 last night, so I'm guessing
awesome.
More. Yeah.
So am I able to say well. I told you so because of all the work involved?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Let that be a lesson to you out there. If you plan on running a contest, there's a reason I stayed out of this one.
Yeah, we're at 151 right now. Wow, that's crazy.
Wow. Jeez, it's really, it was 120 yesterday, 110 or something.
Well, all those procrastinators, but it's great.
Right. Last minute entries.
Getting it in last minute, yep.
Everyone,
awesome.
What is it with engineers and last minute stuff? People work better under pressure. I think we've talked about this on the show before, haven't we? Yeah.
But I don't know, it applies to me too. I mean,
yeah, same here.
It's just something about maybe because you know how people say engineers are efficient. we're lazy and we're efficient.
At the same
until you have to do it, it's just
exactly.
Not
we're
a
unique species.
Yeah. But that also goes to Jerry's prediction of that people do it the last minute anyways, so a short contest window doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all because, last day before it's due, oh, shit, I better do something.
Yeah.
And, I am the same with the blogs as well, It's, like those oscilloscopes I just reviewed, right? There was a real deadline on that, so that pushed me to get it done. Otherwise, they would have sat around for months like all the other products I've got backlogged for review,
Yeah.
So... It's just crazy.
The problem with that is you try and do it for yourself, where you have a personal deadline. You're like, all right, I have to do it by March 1st.
Yeah.
And you keep saying that, but in the back of your mind, you still know that you set the deadline, and you're like, that's not really a deadline.
Exactly, and you can let it slip, and you always find really good excuses to tell yourself, Yeah. So you always come up with
funerals to attend, and
right.
Got to do my taxes, and
right. Oh dear, Eddie. Anyway, enough ranting. What do we got on today's? That wasn't ranting. That was jibber jabber.
Jibber jabber.
Jibber jabber. Is that
jive
a quote
talk.
from Jive Talk? Right. Okay.
I don't know.
There you go. Trying to be hip, are we?
No, not even close, man.
Right. Okay. No, we aren't. Nerds.
We have some workbench of the week, though.
We do. Let's go into workbench of the week.
And we don't have a sound effect, and
sorry. Right. You're still not up and running.
No, still wiring up the bench. But,
okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, let's go through them quick. Who have we got?
Yeah. So first up, we have Dean, or Maker Dino, and he has a couple pictures of his bench, and more importantly, he has actually a live feed on uStream where people can kind of log in and watch regularly, I guess. So
he's got one. The latest one is building his timer contest, building his 555 thing. So it's not live now, but I think the recording's there, and you can just go in and watch it. So yeah, I see it. Yeah, he's got a camera shooting down onto his bench, and he's got a 555 timer T-shirt. Look at that.
Does he?
Yes, he does. On the uStream channel there, I see a screen capture of Awesome.
On the uStream. I gotcha. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's got a cool bench, too. He's got a really, interesting-looking old toolbox there. Oh, no, you know what? That looks like a dresser, the top of an old dresser.
It is the top of an old dresser, yep.
Yeah. That's a good idea for building benches. Just go out, because, you see those on the road sometimes. People just toss those to the side.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's
great
cool
storage
options.
And he's got a nice bench with, it's all lit up, and,
Two pictures of Tesla, too.
Right. Okay. He's a fan, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, there's one behind his analog scope. Big bonus points.
Scope.
He's got a Tektronix 453.
That looks nice. Nice little sine wave on there. Yep. I don't know the Tesla thing. Some people are really, I know the dude is brilliant and he enabled so much stuff, but it seems like some people are really, really into it.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, there's whole communities based around. Well, of course, based around all these energy experiments and power transmission and reception and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. Unfortunately, that's the bad side effect of Tesla's fame, is that people jump on all these patents and they start up these companies and they rip people off because they've cracked, look, Tesla's invention did work. Bugs me. Genius, absolutely
smart dude. But some people take a little further than I would probably do it, but.
Right. Yes. I'm not really into the whole Tesla.
I think Dean's two pictures are acceptable, so we'll let this one slide, Dean.
All right, cool. At work, we've got conference rooms named after famous engineers. So nice. Tesla, so there's the Tesla room and all that sort of stuff. So
I like that. I like that too because
it's kind of groovy.
I think in offices, if you're starting to just do conference room 1, 2, 3, 4, that stuff gets confusing so fast. I think I'm better off when you associate images in your mind with it. So.
Yep, very true.
Yeah. I can hear that thing in the background now, Dave. that animal. I can hear the animal you're talking about.
Oh, the animal,
background.
yes. So if you can, I'm not sure if it'll pick up on this mic.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that sounds horrible. Poor little thing.
I don't know what it is. I went outside to check, and I have no idea. It's a weird sound. It sounds like there's some animal dying in the wall of the house here. I don't know.
Sad.
I can't find it. So
Yeah.
I've banged on the walls, and it did stop once, but it's back. So I apologise for the bad audio. Anyway.
I just feel bad for the little guy, you know?
Yep. All right. Thanks, Dino. That's awesome.
Dino, that was great. That's a great set of pictures.
Yep. And next up, we got Mitch Patterson.
Yeah, that's right. MIT Patterson on Twitter, and name's Mitch, and he did a great panorama. I always love when people do this stuff.
Oh, I haven't seen the panorama.
Yeah, it's the second picture over, so like you can, you can piece pictures together.
Oh yeah, I'm calling it up now. There we go.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's cool. I like that. And he's got some out in his garage. He's got a set of chemicals for etching boards himself.
Yep.
Which is, I've never done that myself. We've talked about it, I think, before. You've done that, right?
I've done it. I've still got the gear to do it, but I just couldn't be bothered. I ordered some boards the other day. I haven't got them yet. Ordered them from what's their name? Mental block. iTeam or something, or I don't know. I'm sure someone will correct me on it. Anyway, they're so cheap. It was like $26 for 5 boards, including delivery and tooling. Ooh. Are you kidding me?
That's pretty good.
So I thought I'd try them. You know, I thought I'll give them a go. You know, this is a prototype board because I didn't care about the colour of the solder mask, and it's not some weird, front panel thing I'm doing this time. I just wanted, a double-sided board, and that's double-sided, double-sided plated through, solder mask, silk screen, both sides. So, oh, man. It's so cheap. Anyway, I haven't got them yet, so I may have done my money. I don't know. I may have done my... But $26, seriously, why would you bother even making your own boards? Unless you were so desperate that you needed them today.
Yeah. Well, what do they advertise the lead time as?
Oh, it's 4-5 days turnaround. It's very quick.
Are they local?
No, they're in China or somewhere. Or, I don't know.
That's still pretty fast, though.
Yep.
That's damn fast, I think. Because that means they're flying it over, right, for 4 to 5 days, right? Unless it's
Hong Kong,
4 to 5 days to make it.
Yeah, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So I don't want to offend the Hong Kongians.
Is there a size limit on it?
Yes, there are. There's different price categories for different sizes. So this is under 2 inches by 2 inches or something, which is fine because my board's only 1 inch by 1 inch. So but it's just it's incredibly cheap. It's crazy.
That's a good deal.
Sorry, here it is. It's ITEAD Studio. ITEAD Studio.com. So, check them out. But I haven't got them yet, so I'm going to reserve my judgment.
Yeah, right.
But, I don't care if they're crap. For $26, I mean, God. Can't go wrong.
What's the exchange rate now? Is it pretty close for the Australian and
the Australian
US
dollar's practically 1-to-1, yeah. So,
okay.
Yep.
That's good for reference points.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Although it means I get less money from my ads and stuff like that, which all come in US dollars. So,
right.
Yeah, it's very disappointing.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
sorry we stink.
I know. Come on, US.
I didn't do it.
Get strong again.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Anyways, thanks to Mitch for sending this in. This is
absolutely.
A cool picture.
Cool.
It's cool that people do it still. I mean, the fact that they do the boards, but from a practical standpoint, I don't know if it's really there.
Yeah. So. The only reason I did it is because I wanted it now. I wanted the satisfaction. I had the enthusiasm. I want to build it up today. I've got the parts. I don't have the board. I don't want to wait, a week or 2 weeks to get it. So, yeah.
And that's nice when board cutters come in. If you have a router type board cutter, you can just cut out some copper clad. That's when that kind of thing's nice, but that has its limits too.
Yeah, I just use an old pair of tin snips to chop up the boards. Yeah, it works fine.
Yeah.
Never had, warps them a bit, but, who cares?
Yeah. Nice.
And the problem with homemade boards is really you can't do that plated through thing. So you have to design your boards, and then you've got to feed each, a wire through each via on there to, and solder at both sides to join up your double-sided board. So, it's pretty annoying.
It is kind of. It's almost better at the point where it depends what you're doing too. But like if you have enough space, if you have enough space, it's better to just spread out at that point and not go to the bottom side. But then you start wasting materials too. So lots of trade-offs there. Yeah,
but my current board's actually it's it's slightly over an inch. It's 32 millimeters by 32 millimeters. So and it's double-sided. 6 thou space, 6 thou traces and. Yeah. So, not something you can easily... and components mounted both sides. And So not something you can really easily make at home.
Yeah.
But you can build the circuit up. You can lash it up on sort of a prototype board, but it's ugly. I really want the look and feel of the real thing. So
You get spoiled with that too, Once you do it a couple of times, you're like, where's the labeling? How do I know where to put these parts?
And having the solder mask there is, it just makes it so much easier to solder. And what else we got? Well, we've got a big rant, haven't we?
Well, it was going to be a shout out to start with. It was
going to be a shout out.
Yeah, it was going to be a shout out.
Let's do it as a shout out first, and then because it's already happened, we will discuss it. So let's talk about it. We could crap on about this for half an hour, I think.
Oh, probably. But
here it comes.
So there is to shout out to. Dear DigiKey and Design News, here's your shout out. You have a new radio show. So there's a new radio show sponsored by DigiKey, and it was done by the guys at Design News. Yep. So Joe, I forgot his last name. Is the editor-in-chief of Design News. Desposito?
Oh, God, I can't pronounce Desposito. Sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly. Yes. Yeah, he's the editor-in-chief of Electronic Design Magazine.
That's right, yeah. And then they had... Oh, I should have pulled this up, sorry. They had two columnists on there. The one that I recognize is Bob Peace, and he does Peace Porridge, and he's written a bunch of books and stuff. Yep. So Bob always writes some great stuff, and so I was really excited about it.
And Bob Peace was the guest for the first episode. He was the special guest.
That's right, yep.
And now there's two of them, isn't there? Just like our show, I think there's two, plus they had Bob Peace. Okay,
well, that's where it starts to get into it. So this show is going to be the Just Joe, I think, at least to start up. So I want to start up saying that I want to take on these guys because it's just their first show. And if someone was railing on me like I want to rail on them, it would not be nice. So I want to preface
we were both looking forward to this show, weren't we?
I was so looking forward to it.
Yeah, because we don't mind the competition. We thought anyone who produces good content, excellent. We'll give them a shout out, even if they are a competition to us.
And they're not even competition,
well, maybe. Technically, they could be. They're an engineering radio show. So,
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely competition.
The thing that I always think of is like people always, come to you and me and they say, "Oh, well, can't you guys do more shows a week?" And it's like, well, not really. I mean, we have a lot of stuff to do, and even the show takes all night to edit and everything, and it would be a full-time thing. So no, we can't do that, unfortunately. And so if there's other people out there doing good stuff, I love, Ask an Engineer on Saturdays and the Savage Circuit Chat on Fridays, and now Make has that podcast. And
that's right.
Anyone who's doing this stuff, it's just fun to watch, and even better if there's chat rooms, so that's good stuff. I like that. So I was looking forward to it, and you said you were looking forward to it too. Yep. So the first problem is Dave can't listen to it. He missed it.
No, because I'm in a different time zone, and I don't like listening to live shows, but I do, but not these webinar things, especially a radio one. Anyway, we'll get into that, but yes, I couldn't listen to it, so I haven't actually heard it.
It was only live, so that's basically the basis behind that. And so unless they're gonna bring that out later as a something that someone can download and listen to, then people are SOL on that one. So that's kind of a pan there. The other one would be the fact that you have to read.
I want to talk about that too now that we're on the topic. Yeah, okay. I think that, if they don't release the podcast version of it, then I don't know why they bother doing it, quite frankly, because these live shows, these live webinars generally attract incredibly small audiences. Yeah. I'd be surprised if they got a couple of dozen people tuning into that. I would, I think that's the kind of level. I mean, if I go do one of my live shows, I might have a couple of hundred. Art of Fruit go do their live show, they've got a couple of hundred, something like that, maybe even 500. But that's nothing compared to the amount of people who want to listen to it or want to watch it and will download it later.
Yep.
So, why even bother to do it as a live show? I mean, we're doing this as a live, I'm using the quote marks, live show, but only for the purposes of talking to each other. We don't actually stream it live because that'd be kind of silly because it means we don't get to polish it and merge the things together and make it sound all good.
Yeah.
So,
although I would like to try that eventually. I think I'm buying a new computer and I'm hopefully we can try that eventually, but not right now.
Maybe eventually, but people want to download the podcast.
Right.
So, and they want top audio quality as well, which you'll go into because you've heard this.
Yes.
So anyway, I think that's the first fail, is that they're doing it as a live webinar, because these big companies, they're obsessed with these, webinars and, live sort of things, and they don't work. Wake up, people.
Right.
They do not work. Just produce your content and release it.
I think, to give them credit, I think they do it because they have like a really set system. They do other webinars, and maybe some of them are successful, but...
Or webcasts, they're calling them. Sorry. Yeah,
I don't know. I think most engineers I've talked to are down on it. I don't know if that's actually a real measure of all engineers. I doubt it is, actually.
I think it's a pretty general measure, is that most engineers don't, a vast majority of them do not want to tune in live, or they're in different time zones around the world and they can't, and, it's just,
Yeah, or even if you have a meeting or something. Really. But anyway, and I don't think we should call these pans so much as just feedback, because hopefully they will change, and if not, well, that's their own decision, but,
Absolutely, guys, we're not panning your show, it's just constructive feedback. Always is.
Things that we'd like to see, especially when you have guests that, like Bob Peace, because...
the caliber of Bob Pease,
Yeah. So, audio quality. Oh, now that one was pretty awful. I was talking to John Schuch online as it was going on. We were going back and forth on Twitter, and at first he said since you had to register and you couldn't download it was like 2001. Like, what is this, 2001? And then he heard it and he said, what is this, 1963? It sounds like AM radio, and it honestly did.
Right.
And they weren't even calling in. It was just the whatever software they're using was just really low bandwidth,
right, and
low quality. So.
Yep.
I mean, we have the benefit of mixing separately and recording later and smushing it together later, but...
well, we're smart enough to record directly into quality microphones and then mix it later.
Right.
I mean, that's another reason why we don't do it live. And if you got live, then you got people calling in and stuff like that, and it's, I think for this type of show, they just had him and a guest, and that's it. They should have just recorded them separately and then mixed it like we do and... got good audio quality.
Yeah.
I hope they did do that. Maybe they did. Maybe they recorded it locally, and they are going to release the podcast.
Yeah. So
let's assume that they are going to release the podcast.
Yeah. Well,
that'd be great.
We hope
anyway.
So. Yeah. Let's see what else.
And you got to sign up for it. That's nuts.
That is.
Engineers do not want to sign up for this stuff.
I bet you they didn't see my real name on there. I'll tell you that much.
Right. Okay, Bill Gates, huh? Nah. Bill Gates is listening in. Yay.
Yeah. A couple known aliases.
Everyone's favorite email address, bill@microsoft.com.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some fun ones. We get to see those sometimes when people leave comments on our site. They always put funky addresses for websites, whatever. So
could you actually put in a fake name and fake email and you just get straight in, or do you have to do the registration? Like they send you an email and you've got to click on it and...
Oh yeah, they email you have to click on it. Yeah. So they have
so you can't use a fake
email.
Right.
An email of mine. They do not have the main email of mine, though. So,
the main email, yeah. Oh, that's annoying. Come on, guys. Stop it.
Yeah.
No one's going to listen to your show. I'm telling you the truth. No one's going to listen if they have to sign up and come live.
Yeah.
I mean...
It was interesting because I was going back and forth with the analog guy at EDN, Paul Rako, and when I told him about the 555 contest, he was like really like upset about it. He thought I was like trying to get people's email addresses, and I'm like, look, this isn't what it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he you know, he like called me out on it, and I'm like, well, no, that's not what we're doing. It's just for fun. And he like apologized. And I think it's just because he sees it so much where, you know, people are just trying like crazy to get email addresses, because then they bundle them up and they sell them to companies, and they say, oh, well, these are leads that I got for you, and pay me money now. So. Ugh.
Or they use them internally for their own leads, in quote marks.
Right,
you know.
right. Yeah.
It's just crazy. But all big companies work like that. That's what the marketing books tell you, is that you must have, regardless of what you do, if you're not getting leads from it and data and contacts, then you're wasting your time. And that's just ridiculous. You know, when you're in a niche market like this, you're just pissing people off.
You know, while we're on that subject, I actually saw something about that today. So Agilent, I saw Agilent has an engineering calculator for like iPhones and smartphones, whatever. And it looked pretty useful.
I've seen that.
And it was like a Ohm's law calculator and a Smith chart calculator and everything else. And I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And then I see the form, and I'm like, screw this, I'm not doing it. I don't need it that much. You know, it would be a fun little thing to have on my phone. Yeah. But I can find that free elsewhere. I don't need an Agilent logo on it. And so I'm like, well, see you later, guys. And so if you guys need ROI, you know, if these social media people think they need like return on investment by getting email addresses and info, it's like, first off, the people that are putting it on their smartphone are not the people that are making the buying decisions, because they're probably under 30, you know, or under 40, or they have a smartphone. Like, these are, you know, like, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that one, but even still, I experienced that directly, because I saw something cool, I saw the form, and I'm like, screw this, I'm not doing it.
Yep, same here. I would not download that, because you've got to fill in the form to get to it. And they ask the usual crap questions. Which product solutions are you evaluating? You know, network analyzers. Yeah, I'm evaluating network analyzers because I'm downloading a bloody iPhone app. Give me a break.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And also, please, people, when you're developing these apps, make it available for Android.
Yeah.
iPhone's not Android is going to be, or is already almost as big as the iPhone market. So, really.
Yeah, well, that's just a resource
try
thing.
And make them available on both.
Yeah, I can understand that, because, you know, they got to pick one or the other at the beginning, right? Unless you're doubling your money.
And they can't go back to management, and management ask, have you released that iPhone app yet? And they went, oh, but it's better on Android. And they're just not going to understand, you know, they're just, I know. Right. So that's all right. But, just try, please.
So, man. So, they're not doing well so far.
So the audio quality wasn't...
Audio was not good, no.
Right, so they didn't tick any boxes, huh?
Nope. And let's see what else there was.
So we'll reserve final judgment until they release the podcast, if they do.
Oh.
If they don't, well, then that's another fail.
I had one other thing that actually was kind of bad.
What's that?
It was all marketing material.
Oh, no. I'm hanging my head.
Yeah, like, honestly, and, actually, no, okay, here's...
Nah, come on, it couldn't be. It couldn't be that bad. Please tell me it wasn't all marketing.
It was all... I mean, no, that's not true, because when Bob got on there, it was great. I mean, they
awesome.
were talking about his articles, you know, he even talked about some of the analog stuff.
Yeah.
So, that was good. I ended up...
I want to listen to that. Where's the podcast?
Yeah.
I so want to hear Bob.
I know, and the other thing, too, he has he doesn't sound anything like I thought he would. I know that, like, that happens a lot, but, like, I don't know what I thought he was...
Same here.
I always thought he was going to have, like, a gravelly voice, because, you know, he's got the beard, he's a little older, and, like...
Yeah.
You think he's going to have this old wizened voice, but he sounds, like, so, like, youthful and bouncy. It's awesome. Like, I'm like, yeah, this... You know, it's just, like, he sounds like his writing is, almost, you know, so... I don't know.
Right.
I'm probably too much of a fan to be an objective judge on that one, but...
I saw a video. I think it was linked through here. They had linked through somebody, and he was at a panel at ESC. They were interviewing him afterwards, and I saw the video, and I went, that's the first time I've ever heard his voice, and I went, wow, you know, I had pictured a totally different... Yeah. As you said, like a more gravelly kind of voice. It's strange.
Yeah, you figure like analog, you know, old analog dudes. You're like, I need like the voice of wisdom, and you could still have that with a youthful voice. I mean, right?
Right.
That was just horrible judgment on my part saying that. But anyways,
and I was surprised too. So no, you weren't alone in that.
Yeah. So actually, the number one thing that they got wrong And this one is a big snafu. They said they were the first ever electronics design radio show.
Oh, please, they didn't.
They did.
Oh, come on.
It's okay. It's okay. People.
No, I can't let that one slide.
Oh, well, they don't know about us. It's okay. Not everybody does.
Well, we're so insignificant,
right.
huh?
But the thing that I take issue with that is like they didn't really talk the first 20 minutes. They didn't talk about electronics design. It was Joe honestly read from a white paper. He was reading a white paper, and then and the other stuff too was about LCD screens and DLP stuff and it just like stuff that, and like I don't need that stuff. I can't imagine unless I'm designing a commercial, like very specific digital color processing machine. Yep. You know, like it was very, very bought and paid for. You could tell. So. Oh,
okay, interesting.
That I'm gonna call criticism. I'm gonna call criticism.
Right. I mean, granted, we don't talk much electronics, like detailed electronics on here, because because ours was like an off-the-cuff, just kind of, conversational rant kind of, format. But yeah, I think you're limited in what you can actually do with technical content on a radio.
Yeah, that's true.
Thing. So, if you go too deep into something, you can't visualize anything and just. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. So that's why we don't go in-depth on...
That's true.
Yeah. People want us to talk about circuits and stuff like that. And, well, without any visual clues, it's hard to do that, I think. So
that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't criticize too heavily in that side of things because we're talking more about engineering culture and news articles and stuff like that. So... okay.
And by the way, we aren't the first electronics radio show either. There's other ones. Solder Smoke is one that comes to mind. Yeah. Even though it was more ham radio kind of thing, but they talked electronics. Yeah. So, they were before us, and there's probably others as well. Yeah. So, yeah. Nah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We're up to episode 32, in case you didn't notice.
Yeah. 2 to the 5.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
Is that enough rant about...
Enough. I'm still going to listen. It was tough to listen to with that audio, so hopefully they'll fix that. But, hopefully they fix it, and hopefully there's other stuff for people to listen to. But, man.
Yeah. Well, please, I want to listen. I want to hear Bob Pease. I want to download the podcast. Where is it? Give it to me, and don't make me sign up for it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of technical details, since we didn't ever really talk about it, I actually have something that I know a little bit about. And it's a news article, and so I could probably talk about it a little bit.
No, go for it.
It's kind of a follow-up from last week, actually, because we talked about Intel and getting into 14-nanometer lines. And I'm not saying I know a lot about this, obviously.
Right. But you have worked in a fab.
I have.
So that's more than me.
Right.
I haven't even been into a fab.
Oh, really?
But then again, I live in backwater Sydney, Australia,
You don't live in backwater. You live in
we've got one fab here.
Yeah.
We've got one fab here.
Oh, you don't mean the backwater of Australia. You mean
Australia's not the backwater. No,
okay.
But as far as the technology... the World Technology Centre goes, Sydney is about as far away as you can get, pretty much, we're not as...
Like Central Africa.
It could be worse. It could be in New Zealand or Central Africa or Antarctica or something like that.
Nice shot there to the Kiwis, Dave.
To the Kiwis,
I was going to get that in there.
They suck just as much as we do, yay.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's funny.
Boy.
Anyways, Intel... So we talked about last week how Intel's getting a 14-nanometer fab, and we were kind of shocked at how small that's getting already. But how you're going to get there, right? Because they've the current lithography methods, which is how they actually pattern photoresist for all the people listening, is they're actually using 193 nanometer wavelength. So I don't know I think it's ultraviolet. Maybe I don't do spectrum stuff.
No, I don't know my wavelengths off the top of my head.
Yeah, it must be ultraviolet because the next generation of that is EUV, which is extreme ultraviolet, I believe. I think that's what EUV stands for.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they've been talking about it for a while, and they're finally getting into the fabs. But there's all these problems with it that they're kind of running into, and that's actually there's a lot of like interesting process issues that people don't know about, and like why it's almost stagnated. Like this was like a big deal, like to the point where they almost said, wait a second, we can't advance the node any further.
Right.
So there's some interesting things though that happen when you start getting that small. Like,
I know, it's crazy. It isn't just the photo lithography stuff either. It's actually the final etched silicon. You know, you get electrons jumping from, channel to channel and
crazy gates and everything.
Stuff happening like that, and just, it's just... Yeah.
So now that they're getting down to like 14 nanometer, and I think that's actually the wavelength of the stuff, I think, is of the EUV is down in that region. I don't know if it's actually 14 nanometers. I think it's a little higher, but then they focus it down, which is how they do the current lithography. Anyways, though, the stuff that happens though is kind of interesting because it gets so small and the aspect ratios are so high. So if you think about it as like a building, right? If you were trying to etch out New York City, right? That would be like it would basically be the amount of distance going from the top of the building to the street level would be like the same kind of aspect ratios you'd see inside of or at the very lowest level of a wafer. So you'd have this stack of photoresist, which is basically just something that's made to block etch chemicals, and then you have these really tall buildings worth of photoresist on top of the silicon, and then basically in all the where all the streets would be, that's where the etch goes in and cuts down into the silicon or whatever material is there. So you start seeing some really interesting issues, like the buildings start falling over, or when you're actually cutting out the shape of the buildings, they don't focus right, so you start getting like line roughness. Or when you're actually etching, it eats away at the buildings at different rates. This is actually a pretty decent analogy, I guess. Thank you, Bjork.
Oh,
with the little cities,
okay.
Right?
Little cities,
that's
it.
Yeah. I saw that somewhere else later in the week too. Someone else was talking about little cities. I forget who.
It's very common.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you said your wife does that too, right?
Yeah,
that's funny.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's a good analogy for all time, huh?
It's not bad, Components have height and depth, and they have roads and.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, this new piece of equipment though, it's kind of letting the 14 nanometers happen. So we don't talk about like chip level electronics too much, other than our usual blathering on about that thing.
Making your own.
Yeah. But there's some interesting problems that are getting solved right now with the EUV, because I mean that's some really high energy stuff. Trying to get
that's insane. Yeah.
Just trying to blast down through all the goop that photoresist is, and then cutting out all these cities and then etching down through them. That it's not easy to do. So go hug your favorite process engineer, because they are allowing the microchips of the future.
You want to know what really amazes me is that how they're able to make a profit at the end of the day producing chips with these damn things.
Yeah.
The amount of technology and, the machinery and the processes and everything else that goes into getting these right, and you only get a certain yield. And, it's just phenomenal. But I guess they do churn out, 100 million chips, a week or something like that. Crazy.
I had an interesting discussion about yield today with one of my coworkers, because I was talking about how I bought a new processor for this computer I just bought, and how I found out you can unlock cores, and he was telling me about like he knows about. Have you ever heard about that?
I've heard mumblings about it, but I don't know the details.
Yeah, so he said, I had heard about this a little bit. Basically, the way it works though is you'll have a company like AMD or Intel, and they'll make a chip that's a 4-core processor, and the way they get their yield up though is they test these things. They have some kind of test vectors that actually test the wafers.
Yeah.
And if one of the cores is bad, they just shut it off. They just say, you can't use this, and we're just going to shut this off, and now it's a 3-core chip, or shut 2 of them off, and it's a 2-core chip.
Yeah.
And so now, when I bought my computer, I was looking for it, and you can buy boards that go and try and unlock the cores, because sometimes they also have to turn off the cores in order to just get the stock up. So if they're selling more 2-core chips because of price than 4-core chips, and they have much higher yield on it, then they're going to sell more 2-core chips, but those other 2 cores on that chip might still be good.
So are they disabled, like using an E-squared problem kind of Is there some switch in there, some flag which turns it off that you can reprogram?
I believe so, and that's actually what the
Right.
motherboard people are doing now. So you can go into the BIOS.
I thought they would have burnt a laser,
Yeah.
thing into it into a trace on there that sort of
blow a fuse, right?
turned it off, disabled.
Yeah.
Actually blow a physical fuse that totally disabled it. But
I don't know. So I got an AMD, and apparently I'm going to try it whenever I get it. But it's
Right.
interesting from like a rubber hits the road kind of thing, because you think about computers and they're always like operating systems are so high level, and like you never really get down in the hardware. But when you start working with motherboards and stuff, and you even look at motherboards, with all the different switchers on board and everything, and you think about people are actually designing these motherboards somewhere, like there's a lot of interesting design issues too. So,
well, there you go. Let us know if you can unlock your core and get extra processing performance.
yeah, I will. And the same friend was telling me actually that this is a new model too. Like not only the fact that I don't know, I'll have to try and find an article about it, but the not only that they're doing it as a yield thing, but also that certain chip, I think Intel was talking about doing this as a upgrade path. So.
Oh, right.
So,
okay.
10 years.
Just like,
a couple years down the road, you need some extra processing power. You pay $100 to get the encrypted key, and then.
And it unlocks. Yep.
Boom. Yep.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. But then you do have to get the yield on those chips up front.
You do.
So that sort of smacks into that. Yeah. And once you go down, if you go down to 14 nanometers, imagine what the yield's going to be. So.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway.
Yeah. There's a lot of and there's a lot that goes into that, because just as complexity goes up, I think it goes up by like the square of the number of test vectors you need. So it starts getting really insane.
And the chips must get more expensive, because if you don't know, wafers are a certain size. They might be 150 millimeters, 300 millimeters in diameter, and you can only fit X amount of chips on that one. On that one thing. So the number of chips that they can get through on a throughput on a per day basis is really determined by the size of the wafer and the size of the silicon. So
right, and that actually that answers one of your earlier question about how they make money, and basically that's it. It's as high utilization as you possibly can. So 95%.
Fit as many chips on that wafer as possible.
No, I mean like the machines that are actually processing the wafers. That's where you make the money. So making sure those things are used 90%, 95%, so that they're always running.
Right.
And then you crank out the most possible wafers. So
exactly.
That was my old life.
Right.
I don't miss it.
But these wafers are physically huge. I mean, not the wafer, but the individual chip for like an Intel processor is a massive die. I don't know what the size. What is it?
Well,
20 millimeters by 20 millimeters these days? Or
I'm not sure actually.
It'd be huge,
I thought they weren't increasing too much, but they're definitely bigger than most discretes that you're ever going to touch. But because discretes are just little tiny flecks, but or specs, not flecks.
Near enough.
Right. I'm not sure how big they are these days. I'll have to look that up. But definitely big.
But I guess it scales down, because as you go to a smaller process, you can make that physical die smaller. So that's a whole advantage. So you get speed advantage. Once you make them smaller, you get speed, power advantages, and yield advantages in theory, because you get more dies per wafer. So
right. I think Fluxer wrote about that once or twice. I think because he's a chip guy, so he knows all that stuff. Yep. But I think it actually doesn't scale linearly. I think there is actually like a limit.
Oh, I'm sure it's definitely not linear. Yeah. But it does scale in some aspects.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So a lot of interesting problems coming up with. I mean, 14 nanometers. We talked about that before, but
that's crazy. Yeah. Well, you wanted to talk about Europe. How Europe are going to fabs.
Yeah, you can tell Chris was reading some semiconductor magazines today.
Yeah, exactly. And you wanted to crap on about how Europe have suddenly figured out, we need to manufacture here. So what are they building fabs, are they?
Well, they're talking about it. They haven't done anything yet.
They're talking about it, right.
Because they're running out of powerhouses. They have, I think they still have STM is there. I think they're in France.
Right, ST Micro, yep.
And Global Foundries, that used to be someone else. They're in Germany.
Right.
AMD might be part of that. I know AMD's in Germany too, but then Intel's in Ireland. Ireland's kind of on the rise for technical stuff too, and they have a bunch of hard drive manufacturers in Ireland, I think. Obviously not chip makers, but yeah.
Right.
It's interesting because, they're seeing this as like people were so gung-ho in the 90s about, everything's programming, knowledge economy, and now it's like, oh, you mean other people can have a knowledge economy at the same time as us, and they'll do it shitloads cheaper? Huh, this is weird. Maybe we should make stuff.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The world's screwed, I tell you what.
I just wonder sometimes about because if you think about like a utilization rate of the population, there's just so many more people that can do stuff now, right? I mean, just access to workplaces and everything else. And are there really ever going to be enough jobs for everyone? Are we going to make enough stuff that's going to matter?
Oh, we'll always make enough stuff. Come on. Of course we will.
I don't know, man.
That's what our entire civilization is built on. Stuff.
Yeah, sweet.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
There's no way we're going back to hunt and gathering our food and not
well,
living in huts. And it's just not going to happen.
Well,
no.
Wait, you never
it's never
know.
going to stop. No. I've got a rant.
Okay.
Can I rant? We don't. Or should we have actual content on today's show?
I don't know. We don't. Do we have any?
Anyway, I'll just give a little rant here.
Yeah.
I get this. I've been getting this sort of crap for 20 years. And basically what it is people email me and they say, I love your show, yada, yada, yada. And I believe you're the best person in the world to help me. I've got this idea and it's going to take the world by storm.
Oh, yeah.
And it's $1 million to $1 billion. My latest email that triggered this is up to billions of dollars in a very short time frame. That's what I'm going to make from this idea. It's so fantastic. And do you want in on it? What can what do I have to do to convince you to jump into this with me?
Yeah, I think this has implications outside of ranting, Dave. So I think this is an entrepreneurial topic, I think.
It is. Yeah. It is. So So
what do you say to that?
Yes,
do you just ignore it, or?
Well, I give them A for enthusiasm, right?
Okay.
But then I tell them realistically that this happens every day of the week. And these people, and 99.9999% of them fail.
Yep.
It's just crazy. The odds are totally against you. And yeah, I mean, they just get blinded. I tell them that they're blinded by their own, they're just narrowly focused and they don't understand how the market works properly, and that their odds are incredibly small of success. And I don't like to discourage people, but I'm a practic. I need to give them the facts, and it's crazy. And when you get them start talking, it's going to make $1 billion in a short time frame, they're just delusional. Really? It's just.
Are you allowed to tell us what their background was? Because that would be interesting to me.
They're always non-electronic people who don't have the skills to do it. That's why, you search electronics design, and I've been popping up on the internet since it started. That's how all the people find me. Even before that, they started sending me letters, like real paper letters, a dead tree. And because they saw me in a magazine and my address is in there because, you could buy the software from me or something. So they go, I've got Dave Jones's address. I'll email him. He seems like a smart guy. He'll be in on this.
Yeah.
He'll understand he can make $1 billion overnight.
$1 billion.
Anyway, it's just, it's just, and then I always humour them. I always say, well, tell me your idea, and I'll tell you whether or not it's shit.
And then they say, I want an NDA first, right?
Well, some of them do, and then I just go, well, piss off.
Yeah.
Ideas are less than a dime a dozen.
I was going to say, you wrote that on my latest post on engineer blogs, which is totally true. I totally agree with it.
Yep. Yeah, ideas are worthless until you put them into practice,
Yep, I agree.
And these people always claim that they know the market intimately and they know how to market a product. Well, if you did, you would just go out and hire an engineer, not try and convince someone. You just go out and hire someone to actually produce a prototype for you. And,
right.
not try and convince, someone to jump on board with you. And, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, stop it, people. Stop sending me crap like that. You get it all the time.
Yeah, he's getting cranky. He's getting cranky, people.
Anyway, I do find it humorous, though, the ideas they, come up with. And often they'll send me their idea, and I'll go... and I'll send them a link back with a "let me Google that for you."
Yes.
That website.
Yes, I love that website.
With that, and you just type it in, and there it is. Somebody's already done it.
Oh,
See
now, that would point to they actually have
Google.
legitimate, decent ideas.
Yeah, but and then just because somebody does it
doesn't mean you can't do it better,
that it's
right?
a $1 million or $1 billion idea,
right?
Right? It's A, somebody's already done it, and B, it's so, and you just look at it and well, no one's going to buy that. It's just, you might sell a few, but it's not going to make you a billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the stuff I was talking about in that article not really a billionaire, but I was talking about how kind of going into new markets and stuff too. It feels daunting, but it doesn't mean it is, just because it feels...
Oh, no, of course not.
But...
Yeah, it's, and people, I don't want to discourage you from doing that, but, if you... It's the inventor, trap. There's a term for it. And, you come up with an idea and you think that it's going to be $1 million, but, well, you've got to know the market. You've got to have knowledge in all sorts of areas before you could, do that. There's only a very few select lucky people who actually don't know anything about, if you want to produce an electronic product and you don't know anything about electronics and you can go and convince someone to make it for you, or you mortgage your house and, there's a lot of people that do that.
And
they'll go out and mortgage their house and, borrow $100,000 to build up their idea. It's crazy. The odds of you failing are ridiculously high. But there are a couple of people who make it. But so,
it's tough. Depending on, I'm sure you have a pretty good feel of who you're talking to, though, too. There is that certain excitable type who, are always, everything is to the moon, you know what I mean? They're
always very excited. They're so excited they're jumping out of their skin, which is great. I love it, of course, but you've just got to be realistic.
But I love shooting it down more.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And he's and the story's always the same. They've gone to other people. They've got friends who have said, it's not possible, but I know it is. I know it's possible. I believe in it. And,
I believe it.
And you're the best guy I've ever seen, and you're going to help me do it. And I believe in you. You're the best, and I only want the best working for me. And if you're so confident, just go spend the money. There's plenty of subcontract electronic companies out there. They'll give them a spec, and a top-level spec, and they'll go design the thing for you.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about that, though. When you have people that come in and they don't understand the industry and they don't understand anything else, they always balk at the price. So say you charge...
absolutely.
A decent rate of like $75 an hour. People don't realize that, at least in the U.S., that's a nominal rate. You basically have to cut that in half for taxes.
Yep. Oh, that's bottom of the range.
Right. Right. And people see that and their jaws drop and they're just like, no, I can't pay that. You have to go lower. It's like, well, no, you really don't. So you might be able to find someone that can do it lower, but they're going to take twice as long, and you're going to pay just as much in hours, or you're going to get a subpar product. So fast.
That's
fast,
right,
cheap,
and
good,
that's
right?
why they seek out. Yeah, well, that's why they seek out people like us who, who do this thing and they're enthusiastic and they think they can get it for free. They think that by we'll join them and we'll put in massive effort. We'll just stop everything else in our life and work on their product because they've guaranteed it's going to make $1 billion. They're hoping to get it for free. Yeah. That's what they're hoping
stock
for.
Options too. That's always
or stock
that's
options.
a fun one.
Right.
It's like
right.
Yeah, it's. I've had offers like that before, and it's like, well, so I'm gonna go, and you have this idea, and you want me to go design it all, and I'm going to charge you a rate. So I understandably would take the money and not the potential of a upside payout someday. You know, I could become a billionaire, as you say,
Yeah.
right? So I want to get paid instead.
Right.
But I'm going to go design this whole thing and put in all this work for this, and then you're just going to take all the credit? I mean, like, if you're bankrolling me, then that's a whole different thing. Then I'm a contract manufacturer.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess you're free to do that. But as soon as it becomes like we can't pay you this much, we want to pay part of it in stock. It's like, well, if you don't have any money, then I want a much bigger share, because
Absolutely.
someone's got to do the work, you know, like.
That's right.
And,
Absolutely.
And people out there should know.
And it's always going to be us.
Right.
Because they're the ideas man.
Right.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of benefit to the salespeople. Like, I know a lot of engineers harangue salespeople. They're like, oh, well, I could do that. And it's like, well, the tables get turned. It's like, well, could you go out and find leads and sell them on your idea and get money up front without a product? Because that is often just as important in startups and in these little small ventures as anything else is, just as much as good design or anything else. So people should realize that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, end of rant, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about some electronics? We've had this one on the list for a while.
Sure.
It comes from the forum.
Okay.
JK on the forum. His name's actually Jay. And it has to do with, he asked a very good question. Why are 9-volt batteries still used in multimeters and other products? Really, why don't they use AA's? Because they have a much higher energy density. You know, they're cheaper, they have a higher energy density per, square centimeter or
I would say
or whatever. So why don't they just use that?
cost. That would be my guess.
Right.
Well,
Well, it's because a lot of products, there's many reasons behind it, but a lot of products need a reasonably high voltage to work with. And when you start with a 9-volt battery, it's easy to knock that down to 5 volts. But if you start with two AA's, it's going to cost you money to
cost.
put in a DC to DC converter to bump it up.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Cost, exactly.
yeah, I mean, you think about those POS multimeters you get at like trade shows and stuff. Like the $5 ones that are just pathetic. But they have 9-volt in the back, and they step it down. They could step it if they calculate it right. They could step it down with a resistor instead of a linear regulator, or even linear regulators
that's
are
right.
cheap as hell. So why not? That's probably a significant portion of the cost right there. And then you could start getting older parts, which are 5-volt parts instead of 3-volt parts. That might be older technology. So.
But there are meters out there which run on two AA's, especially actually a lot of the cheap ones. In my $50 shootout, I think most of them use two AA's. Actually, you're right. Like the really cheap $2 ones, they use a 9-volt battery because they're saving. But then you step up a little bit, and they do. There's quite a few of them that do actually go to two AA's, but then they're limited. Like the diode test voltage is limited because they're using a chip in there which can work from two AA's, right? And the LCD and everything else. They don't need to bump it up.
Right.
But then your diode test voltage is low. You can't test LEDs with it. So
I mean, I usually don't use these kind of like cheapo multimeter. I have a couple sitting around, but I don't really use them. I mean, so it's interesting the fact that they still use them. But I would say cost mainly, and then like you said, Dave, the voltages that you need, it's much easier to just step down than step up every time.
That's right. So it's just and ease of design. They can just whack it out there. If you've got to design a DC to DC converter, geez, you might have to prototype that. Heaven forbid.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine being on that super low. Have you ever done any kind of like super low end stuff? I mean, like that.
As in low voltage stuff?
No, sorry, low end costs, like where you're squeezing out sub penny kind of cost.
Not quite to that level. I've worked on stuff where the volumes have been in the hundreds of thousands. So if you save $1 on each board,
that's a lot, right?
$1 assembled cost on each board, there's $100,000. So that's the thing that a lot of people don't realise is if you actually stand back and take a look at it, if you're producing 100,000 boards, you can afford to spend $100,000 in labour to actually get your cost down by $1.
Yeah. So
because you will get that money back
and when
you go to manufacture 100,000.
Yeah, that's a 1-year payback right there. And that's how a lot of people do that kind of calculation. If you're a manager, that's what you're looking at.
Yep.
How long is it going to take to make all this stuff back? So
yep.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so you can afford to actually hire someone full time just to optimize the component. You can hire a manufacturing engineer full time to optimize the manufacturing cost of this thing. And
that's why you will never find a component in a cell phone or any kind of commercial product that does not need to be in there, because they are saving money any way they can, because that's margin that goes straight to the bottom line, basically.
Well, that's called the old Japanese method.
What's that?
The old Japanese TV method.
Is that from the 80s?
No, 70s, I think 60s, 70s or something like that. Yeah, they would design the TV. This was back when they're all discrete components, very complex stuff if you ever looked at the schematic for a TV. Absolutely amazing. Very difficult to follow. Anyway, what they would do is they'd produce it, they'd engineer it well, and they'd make sure it works, and then they'd start taking out components one by one. And when the TV stops working,
put it back in.
That's when they'll put it back in, and that's what they'll ship. That's I don't know if it's a myth. It's sort of like a legend of
was that Jeff?
The Japanese TV.
Wasn't it
method.
Jeff that was talking about that when he was on here last time with you? With the capacitors?
Maybe. I don't know.
He said something.
Yeah, quite possibly. Take off decoupling capacitors until it stops working. And
that's a great example, too, because you think about decoupling caps, like, at like, what, a cent a piece or even like a tenth of a cent? That's ridiculous. But, again,
But you throw a lot of them in there, and they're generally overkill. Most decoupling is over-engineered.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just what we do, I'll stick a 100N and a 10N and a 1 mic on there just for good measure.
I would call that under-engineered, because I think it's just not understood. I think people understand, okay, you need some charge sitting there locally at the device, and they just put it in until it works. And then if it doesn't work, you put on more. I think...
Yeah, but you try and go and measure and actually characterize that sort of stuff for each component in your design. And then when they interact on the board together, it's almost impossible to, get down to a level where you can actually engineer that 100% to know exactly what decoupling cap is needed for each one. I think it's very difficult.
No, I totally agree, but that's why I think it's under-engineering.
So that's why people just go, well, I should have some decoupling there. The app note says I should have some. Okay, I'll chuck in 100 in.
Yeah, that's like one of those rule of thumb kind of things. You're just throwing them on there because, well, didn't work last time. Might as well put it in this time.
And it's too hard to characterize it. Geez, I'm not going to spend, a month characterizing this thing to figure out what is the best optimal. I don't have time for that. Jeez.
Yep.
So... just bung it in, and I know it'll work.
Bung it in. That's good.
Bung it in. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what you do.
That's good. I've never.
And that's our amp hour.
Is it really?
It's over. We've been going for an hour and 2 minutes.
Oh man.
Sorry to tell you, number 32 is all over, and it was all a rant.
It wasn't all a rant.
Was it a half-hour rant on a competing radio show? And... Love you guys, really. It's just constructive advice.
Yeah. We'd love to hear your future updated version. We can't wait to hear it, actually.
Yep. And absolutely. I'd love, I thrive on competition.
Not even competition, just more.
I don't thrive on world domination.
Just more stuff to listen to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sitting at work, I want more engineering shows to
Can't listen to ourselves.
Well, I do after you edit it. See, because I like listening. I have to listen to the show back because it's different when it's edited. It just turns out different, I think, to when it's just
the magic that I edit into it.
Absolutely. Yeah. What magic? You time a line and run it through the levelizer. Yeah, that's about it. Well, but it takes time, It's Oh boy. Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week, guys.
See ya.